The devil is fighting you and trying to keep it apart. So that brings us to point 3. The enemy distorts what he cannot create. So we know that the enemy didn't create marriage. God created marriage. So what the enemy does, he tries to give us a counterfeit. So he brings along shacking. He brings along living together. You ain't got to be married.
That's the lie.
Yeah, and you got believers, people that say they're children of God. You got them shacking now and living together before marriage. That's the enemy.
Yes, that's the enemy.
God has a marriage covenant that I'm committed to you, you're committed to me. Amen. So the enemy, let me give you the scripture, John 10:10 in the Amplified said, the thief comes only in order to steal and kill and to destroy. Amen. I came, that's Jesus' words. I came that they may have life and have an abundance to the full till it overflows. It's not God's idea for you to be shacking. No. It's not God's idea for you to be living together before marriage. He came that we might have life and have it more abundantly.
God does not honor. God does not bless anything that is not His will. Amen. No relationship. Shacking is not God's will. So I don't care how you look at it. Right. It's not the will of God for you to be shacking.
It's not the will of God.
He didn't put two people just to live in the same house together and couldn't call themselves married. Want the benefits of marriage. Yeah. You want the benefits of marriage?
Get married.
Get married.
That's it. So Satan attacks intimacy through distortion, distraction, and deception.
We spoke on distractions.
Yes, we did. So now we're going to talk about things that a lot of people don't talk about. Just pornography. That's one of the deceptions. Masturbation. That's one of the deceptions. You can talk about the pornography.
Yeah, and speaking on pornography puts your mindset at a disadvantage. It puts your mindset on looking at images that are not real. It puts your mindset when you're looking at pornography, you're looking at that person or those people that are in there. So you're taking those images with you and lusting after those images and wanting that to be in your marriage. But you're actually lusting. You're also committing adultery. If you're married, you're committing adultery because now you're lusting after somebody else,
right? And
wanting that person to be your wife. And see, when you're masturbating, you're having sex with a demon. That's what you're doing right there. You're having sex with a demon, and a lot of people don't understand that, but you are. That's a sexual demonic connection right there. That brings about destruction because no person is going to be able to satisfy you if you're in that kind of relationship. If you're doing those kind of things, pornography continues to pollute your mind. It pollutes your mind. It pollutes your thinking, your way of thinking. You thinking things are like this and like that, and in reality, they're not.
That's true. And then in pornography, people are looking, like you said, the women have it airbrushed up there. Everything is nice and perky, and all your body parts are perfect. We know that's not normal. That's not a real world thing. But then you look at your wife, a man looks at his wife. We know women look at pornography too, but men look at it more. So the man is looking at his wife. Now this woman might have just had 2 or 3 children. Now, her stomach might not be as flat as it was, might not be as firm as it is. Everything might not be firm anymore. But he's got them images in his mind of this woman on the screen. So now he's looking at his wife. She's not enough anymore. He can't come on to her no more. He can't get turned on by her no more because of him looking at that. That's why pornography is not a good thing for a married couple. Some people say, well, what, can we look at it together? Why do you need to look at it together? You got the real person right with you. Why do you need to look at it together?
Why do you need to bring another person or other people into your relationship?
Right.
Into your intimate relationship.
That's right.
Because that's what you're doing. You're bringing other people in.
Right.
Other people in. And a relationship never works out where you bring a third person into your relationship.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the world, they want threesomes. And when that shows that you don't love your mate.
No.
That's sort of right because you feel you need somebody. You're saying that that person is not enough for you.
Right.
That you need somebody else, and not to. If you love me, like you'll go ahead and you'll do this. That's no, and that's no such thing as that. I love you. I'll do this for a person. That's showing that you don't love them.
Right.
Because the average person, and when you in a committed relationship, but it's just between you two. So why would I want to bring? You don't want that person cheating on you.
Right.
So they use it that they use this here logic is where we bring a third person, it won't be cheating. Like we'll all be involved together. That's the most serious and unintelligent knowledge in the world, right there.
Straight from
that's straight from hell, right there.
Yep.
Because
it's a distortion.
You don't bring in another person to defile your relationship.
And the thing with masturbation is, a lot of people have been doing it for years and years. There's a lot of women that say, like, I don't need no man. I'm good. And the reason a lot of women say they don't need no man because they're masturbating. We would keep it real. Single women are masturbating like, I got my toy right in my drawer and I can use it. And what it does is when you get married, because you've been using this toy all these years, and because this toy runs by batteries, and when it slows down, you put another battery in, and it works just perfect. So, but when you get the real man, he's not gonna work like that. He's gonna get tired. He can't run like the ever ready bunny. He's gonna turn off. He's gonna get tired and all that. I was at a training one time, and we was talking about if you would go on a desert island and you can only take one thing, what would you bring? And this woman said, "Oh yeah, I take my toy with me." So when it got my time to talk and asked me, I said, "I would take my husband. Why do you need a toy when you can have the real thing?" And a lot of people don't think that. So I talked to some women. I told them that when you masturbate and you have toys and all that, I say that's sin. And they like, I never knew that. Yeah, because what you're doing is you gotta have images in your head. You gotta think lustful things when you're masturbating. Your mind is supposed to be on Christ, not on lustful things. So yes, it's sin. And you got women that's married that's doing that because they feel like I've been doing this for years and then now I'm married and my husband can't satisfy me just because you've been using those toys. So if you're single and you're using these toys and you don't make it a habit, you need to stop using those toys because it's not of God, it's a sin. And you need to just wait on God to bring the real man to you. Because I'm telling you, just talking to this woman before, and they call it a spiritual husband. That spiritual husband shows up every night, and what it is, the demon shows up every night, and you do these acts and all that stuff. And if God would allow you to see what you're really doing, it would scare the wits out of you, and you wouldn't do it anymore. So I'm encouraging you, if you're doing all that, you're not ready for a husband right now. Because what you're going to do, that spirit is going to join you and be upset because you do have a husband. So it's going to keep appearing and appearing. And then if your husband's away for any lack of time, it's going to show up so that you can start that process all over again and come between you and your husband to destroy your marriage. The enemy got a bag of tricks. And we can't even see what the enemy is doing. So masturbation, pornography, none of that is of God. That's why God said, husband and wife come together and be joined as one and enjoy each other sexually. You don't need all that other stuff coming into we need this, we need a little more excitement. We'll sit together and talk about what you two need. You don't need all that outside influences coming in, because what you're doing is you open up portals. And you have portals open in your bedroom, and you got all these demons hanging around your bedroom influencing you, and he ain't doing it right. I don't like the way he's doing it. Like, she don't look the way she used to look. And all those dirty images that you're going to have to renounce, you're going to have to denounce, and you're going to have to ask God to clean you and get rid of that. You don't need to masturbate. You don't need to look at pornography. God got it all for you. He said, man, husbands, get you a wife. Wives, get you a husband. And do not get to the point where you resisting each other, where you telling each other no. But you gotta make sure your mindset is clear.
Make sure it's clear. When you really look at, you look at you having a real relationship,
Mm-hmm.
you can't allow anything else to come in, that will clog your mind up, that will put you in a fog, or put you in a fog of disillusion. And when anything else that you add to your marriage is another weight.
Yep.
That you don't need. Any unclean thing that you come in there that's going to contaminate your marriage. And you don't need contamination in your marriage. We have it in the world because the world follows the way of the world. And all of them like is in misery. A lot of them say, well, I'm tired of this going on. I'm tired of it. But yet you're still in it.
Right.
Yet you're still in it because you haven't made that bold statement to step away from it.
Come on.
People don't want to step in with God because they say God's way is not the way that they want to go because there's no excitement in it. Well,
yeah.
I can honestly tell you, if you follow God's way, He will give you the excitement that you've been missing. You just have to open your mind up to receive His way.
Yeah.
And allow it to denounce the trash that you've been living, the trashy lifestyle that you've been living. Denounce all of that and allow the Lord to clean you up.
Yes.
And when He cleans you up, you'll be like brand new, and everything will be good when you can come into His way of doing it. But that means that you gotta be connected with a person of like mindset.
That's it.
That's it. They gotta be like-minded.
Equally yoked.
Equally yoked. You can't go with us expecting you live in one way and expect the other person to live in another way and expect you to have paradise. Yes. It's not going to be.
It's not going to happen. So, when these things occur, we have unrealistic expectation. That's what masturbation does. That's what pornography does. It gives you unrealistic expectation. The woman that masturbates, she's thinking that when she get married, the man's going to have to be able to perform like this machine. He's not. He's a real person. So that's why I say get rid of it right now. Get rid of it. And another thing that the enemy tells us is you don't need to marry nobody if you ain't had sex with them. That's another thing that God tells us to flee fornication. And that's another thing that the enemy, he lies to us. He distorts what he cannot create. So he said it's okay to have sex before marriage, but because you got to know what you're getting. Suppose he can't please you. Suppose she can't please you, so you got to get it tested out. You don't need to test it out. God said if we seek Him first, He'll give us everything that we need. Everything that we need, He's going to supply. He's talking about every area. He ain't just talking about food and drink and water and gas and all that. He's talking about everything that you may need in this earth. That's including your man of God or your woman of God. They'll have just what you need. So you don't have to be testing nothing out. We don't supposed to be testing things out. You keep it pure. You keep it holy. Bernie and I, we got married. We didn't touch each other before marriage. We knew we wanted to do it God's way. And God's way is the right way. We wasn't thinking, well, I don't know, maybe she might not know what she's doing. He might not know what. See, what we're doing is we're bringing these past experiences and trying to compare. That's why God wanted us to be virgins when we got married. But some of us failed in that area. But He wanted us to be virgins so that we would have no prior experience, nothing to compare it to. Right. But now that we don't had other sexual partners, now we can say, well, you don't do it like him. He did it like this, or she did it like that. That's the enemy speaking. That's why, like you said, two people that's saved come together with the same mindset. Don't bring that worldly stuff into your marriage. Don't bring that worldly stuff into your bedroom. Don't bring that worldly stuff into your life. Because if you dwell on all that worldly stuff, I'm telling you, it's worldly. And you bring it into your marriage, it's going to destroy your marriage. Yes, it is. So you're single, get rid of all of that. You doing pornography, you masturbating, you thinking about having sex before marriage, that's worldly. And God is not pleased with it. So you got to get all of that. You shacking up and all of that and saying, well, we just want to see how it feels to live with someone, because you never know a person unless you live with them. God didn't say that. Nope. That's Satan distorting what he didn't create. He didn't create marriage, so he's giving you a counterfeit of how this thing's supposed to be.
See, when you don't trust the Lord, you'll open yourself up to believe a lie.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing about a lot of people go to church and they hear the word and whatnot, but you don't follow it, like you don't live it.
Right.
And that's a point where you have to make in your life. If God said marriage is honorable, then you want to get with somebody and they don't want to marry you, then that ain't the person for
It's
you.
not.
That's not the person for. Don't try to force the issue. Don't try to force.
They're gonna have you messing up and going in the sea.
Because they'll have you. They'll be stringing you along, and a lot of people, it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you'll be strung along just because of, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. We gonna set the date for this. We gonna do, and they have long engagements.
Beware of the long engagement.
You living together. You doing what you would do if you were married, but you want to put a person on an engagement because you don't want them to go nowhere.
Right.
But you want to open up yourself to be available to other people.
Mm-hmm.
But while you string this person along because you don't want nobody to get this person.
Hold up.
But you gotta be faithful. You gotta be faithful in all that you do. The Lord sees all.
Mm-hmm.
You're not hiding from Him. You're not hiding from Him. If you want a marriage that you can say is God sent, then do what God say do.
Do what God says do. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. So think about counterfeit money. Don't look real, but it lacks value. And that's what the enemy tries to give us. Mm-hmm. He tries to give us the counterfeit of what marriage really is. Mm-hmm. So if you're not living a life for God and you're not going forward in a marriage God's way, you're living a counterfeit life. And the enemy, every chance he get, he's gonna throw them things at you, and you're gonna catch them, and you're gonna do it. So the application of that is address hidden struggles honestly.
Honestly.
Address them. Yes. Find somebody. Ask God to lead you to somebody that you can talk to, mm-hmm. that you can pour yourself out without feeling judged, mm-hmm. and they can talk to you and get you on the right mm-hmm. track. Mm-hmm. Husband and wife, if mm-hmm. you're struggling in the area of pornography, if you're struggling in the area of masturbation, sit down.